Your toenails. Look, they're pink.
They're very nice.
All right, so very seldomly do patients come to the unit that you're working on self-ambulating. Typically they arrive how? In a wheelchair or typically from the ER on a gurney. Okay? So, we don't, well, we have a gurney somewhere. They haven't been able to find it. Don't ask me, I just... So we're going to pretend that this bed over here is the gurney, and we're going to be transferring Mrs. Stortz to her ICU bed. Okay? So, one of the things that we typically use is something similar to this. This, in particular, is a spine board. Okay? If you work in the ER, you'll see a lot of these when your patients come in via ambulance because they are supporting the spine so that they don't move it all over the place. These are not very comfortable. But we're going to be using it today as a transfer board. So, be aware.
Be fair.
Okay? So yeah, I will have everybody come over here though, okay?
So weird to have like your butt dry.
You comfy?
I really did not realize what I was saying.
No, you did not, did you?
I think it has a. Oh no, it doesn't.
Well, honestly,
That'll teach you for being such a go-getter.
Else I'm hanging myself.
Don't do that.
It happens all the time.
All right, now what should happen is I get a nice little note or notification from my charge nurse telling me I am getting a patient, okay? Should get my room ready and everything to receive them, and I should be anticipating this patient coming up. I should have gotten a report from the ER nurse who brings up the patient. Okay, and Jessica, can you help her bring the bed over here?
It doesn't drive like it's supposed to.
Yeah, just because I worry about her knees. Yeah. She doesn't need it.
I don't need any parts
Okay.
of my body.
So we're going to bring the gurney into the room and try to get the bed surfaces as even as possible, okay? Now, I have my side rail up
You guys will have to
on
grab
this
the
side.
brakes in a
She
minute.
has hers up on that side for now because we don't want the patient to fall out of bed, okay? So now we can bring the bed over and equal as least as possible. Now, it is much easier to go from a higher surface to a lower surface than from a lower surface to a higher surface. So if that's the bed that the patient's on and it's a little bit higher, that's fine, okay? Because again, they're gonna come down and hit the bed, well, not hit the bed, should land on the bed,
I'm
okay?
going to take your pillow, ma'am.
So now we gotta move this young lady onto her nice ICU bed, okay? So Professor Reed is going to turn her up on her side.
Towards me. Look at my
Okay.
patient, even this is thing.
I'm going to put this under my patient as close to her as possible because I want her to roll onto it.
It's going to be
Okay.
a large bump down.
And it's not gonna be very comfortable, I'm afraid. Okay? And we can pull her onto it if we need to. She shouldn't have to do anything as the patient.
You just lay there and do
Okay.
nothing.
I'm going to tuck this up. All right. Now, the person receiving the patient is the one that counts off when to go. Okay? Or if there's multiple people, if there was another person helping her and another person helping me, the nurse or the person receiving the patient at the head of the bed calls out the 1, 2, 3. Okay? Main thing, you don't want the patient to freak out and be like, "Ugh," and grab anything. So I always have them hold their own arms like this or give themselves a nice big hug and have them tilt their chin up a little bit.
One other thing, don't ever lock your knees, bend your knees when you're doing this. Because if
Yes.
you lock your knees, you will injure yourself terribly, either side, okay?
You want to stay nice and limber.
I've actually watched a nurse terribly injure herself.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna grab here, just right the shoulders here and just below her pelvis. So that way again, and don't take this the wrong way, but the majority of the weight of a patient is with the torso, okay? Grab right there, by the shoulders. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
Okay, now, she's still on the board, thankfully, right? But we need to get that out from underneath her. So, I'm going to tuck these linens underneath you. Okay, and I'm going to have you roll towards me. So that way, we can get her off of the board. I've got you.
1, 2, 3.
Go ahead. She lands on her new linens, right in the center of the bed. Go ahead and lift your head up. I know, right? I told you. There you go. And now she is in her ICU bed. Okay.
See, she can tell you. That's not a good bit.
Now, we can get her situated. I can lift her head up to a comfortable position unless it's contraindicated for whatever reason. Okay. Now, most of the time too, remember I talked about how patients will slide in the bed and things, okay? We want to keep them in this position because if she's bending like this, although it kind of looks like you are, but you have a fluffy pillow, they're not going to be able to take a deep enough breath. We should be bending them here at the hip level, okay, not crunched over. So I don't want her to slide down, so what I'm going to do is raise your legs up just a little bit so that way it stops her. Gravity isn't going to let her continue to slide out to the bottom of the bed. Okay? Am I done? What do I need to do next? Lower the bed and make sure too that it's still locked. Alright? Now what?
The call light.
Nap time. Yes, call light, any other personal belongings that she might need. Yes. Yes, sir.
So when you're transferring from the roller gurney thingy, does that have brakes? And if it does, are we supposed to lock it while you're transferring? Okay.
Yes. You want both surfaces to be stable.
Because it's too hard to chase that thing when it's moving.
Well, and not only that too, but if it's not locked and she's only halfway and she has to come over to help me pull over the rest of the way, if that's not locked, it could slide out and then the patient goes right in between the beds.
Yes, and it's awful when you drop your patient because they get injured a second time. Plus, there's a lot of paperwork that falls in between there. Because then the hospital is liable for them for the second
For those
injury.
damages. Well, I mean, she was damaged before she came in.
And then whatever injuries she incurs, then the hospital has to pay for those.
Any other questions? Now, don't worry, I'm not gonna make you transfer each other like this, okay? But I am gonna make everybody get on the spine board so you can feel what it feels like, because it is not very comfortable, okay? So, you don't have to worry about it, because you already went for the ride.
So she's relaxed, she's just kind of like.
She's like, I'll just like start snoring here in a minute.
This
If
bed
you'd like
is not
to.
locked. Let's lock the
Let's
bed.
lock it.
Alright, I'll try to